Hi, guys. So, something cracked in America's housing market this year, and it wasn't home prices, it was the rents. And the way it's happening, it feels impossible, like watching a glass shatter before anyone even touched it. And yet, somehow, everyone around you insists the table is still steady. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the baseline. Thank you so much for joining me again. Because if you're feeling confused by this moment, if part of you is thinking, wait, why are rents falling while home prices are still so stubborn? That confusion is real. It's the same feeling you get when your car starts drifting to the right, even though you're holding the wheel perfectly straight. Something underneath is off. And the people in charge keep telling you the road is just fine. But here's the thing. Rents are collapsing. And the housing market, it's going to follow, not because of a crash narrative, not because of fear mongering, because rent is the leading indicator of everything else. And today, rent is telling a story that the mainstream refuses to actually admit. So let's bring it all in, right? Because the United States rental market is seeing its sharpest pullback in over 15 years. And that's not my opinion. That's CoStar, that's RealPage, and MLS data, all pointing in the same direction. The cities that boasted about being unstoppable, we're talking Austin, Denver, Nashville, Phoenix, Tampa, Dallas, all of them, right, they're now throwing out concessions like they're party favors. I'm talking 2 months free rent, sometimes 3 or 4 months free. And they're doing that on new apartments that were supposed to be the crown jewels of America's real estate boom. And here's the first big truth. This didn't happen because demand disappeared. It happened because demand buckled. People hit the affordability wall so hard, it left a dent. Now, to understand how fast this shifted, imagine saving up to buy a brand new iPhone, only to realize the monthly payment is now more than the car insurance. That's the rental market right now. I almost said the mental market. Now, the product didn't get worse. The buyers, they just got squeezed. And squeezed buyers, man, they don't upgrade, they pull back. So let's make it personal for a moment. Like, have you ever walked into a store, picked up something that was just so expensive, and the salesperson hovers like a little too close because you can't quite hide the look of, oh my gosh, this costs way more than I thought. And that's today's renters. They want the apartment, they like the location, but the payment, it hits like cold water, and suddenly the couch at mom's house doesn't look so bad. And landlords feel it too, because behind the scenes, another pressure is building: debt. And this is a part no one explains clearly. Most of the buildings offering free rent right now were financed at ultra low rates in 2020 and 2021, of course. But they're now refinancing into 6 to 7% debt. Now that's like going from paying for like a used Honda to suddenly financing a brand new Tesla without any type of pay increase or any type of raise. And that brings us to the second part, right? And a bigger truth. Because picture the entire multifamily sector like a massive cruise ship that committed to its route 2 years ago. Now, it can't turn quickly. The passengers, the renters, they're leaving. The costs, the debt, the taxes, the maintenance are all rising, but the ship, it can't stop. The units keep coming. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands. And they're delivered into a market that already said we can't afford this. And this and that is where the concessions begin. This isn't generosity. It's not kindness. It's survival. In some cities, occupancy is even softening as supplies explode, which is why we're now seeing a surge in a phase that sends shivers through Wall Street landlords. Now, CMBS multifamily delinquencies, they're going up. And this is where I want you to pay attention, because delinquencies are not a lagging indicator. They're an alarm because when CMBS defaults rise, it means institutional operators are underwater on buildings they bought at peak valuations. And that raises the stakes for everyone because what breaks institutional landlords eventually breaks local housing markets. And what breaks local housing markets eventually breaks home prices. Now, I'm sure everyone can feel the tension building, right? It's like watching the waterline rise at the edge of a dam. I mean, slowly, then suddenly, boom, right? And here's the part that a lot of the mainstream rarely gets right. Oversupply is part of the story, but it's not the driver. Migration patterns, they matter, of course, but they're not the engine. Interest rates, they shape the moment, but again, they're not the root. And here's what the core comes down to, right? Because the rental collapse is a direct reflection of housing fragility. The average renter's financial cushion is thinner than it has been in 2 decades. So we have student loan payments, resumed credit card delinquencies that hit decade highs. I mean, auto loans are defaulting at recession levels. Job openings for young adults, they've dropped. And wage growth slowed while rents stayed inflated. So picture a family budget kind of like a balloon that got stretched and stretched from 2020 to 2023. At first, it expanded. I mean, we had stimulus, low interest rates, remote work, and savings. And then the hand holding the balloon started squeezing. And then we have higher food prices, higher insurance, higher utilities, higher everything. Eventually, renters stopped stretching. They snapped. And this is why concessions are everywhere right now. This is why institutional landlords are wobbling. This is why rent is falling, and not gently, but pretty sharply. And this is why the housing market can't ignore this moment. Because rent, they lead prices always, every cycle, every era, every time. And now we're seeing rent deflation in real time. So, what do you guys think? Do I have this all right? Do I have it all wrong? Put it in the comment section below. I look forward to reading and replying to all your comments. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching me here on The Baseline. All right. Cheers, everybody.